Hello everyone, welcome to Redmen TV. Liverpool taking on Spurs this weekend. I'm joined by Flav, the Fighting Cock podcast, and Ball Street. You okay?
Hey! Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah.
Actually, I feel a bit poorly, but I'm alright. How are you?
Good.
How are you?
Not slightly concerned at our close proximity, now that you've mentioned that, but that's absolutely fine. I want to pick your brain just on Spurs in general, I guess, at the moment. For me, I've said this to you in the past, I kind of, Spurs kind of fly under my radar a little bit to some extent, and I always think that every year is going to be the year where it kind of falls apart, and yet you seem to just, not necessarily like take massive strides, but you're just a very good team, very well organised, good brand of football, good manager. What's the feeling at the minute around Spurs? Because it's very hard, I think, to judge other football clubs from the outside because you get it put through a media lens or a social media lens where everyone talks in all the things that are going to go wrong and pressure and all that kind of bollocks.
I mean, before the season started, there was a lot of we hadn't signed anyone, and the transfer windows are there so that you bring players in and improve your side. Liverpool have done that excellently. And you look at the start of the season, you think, you know, we finished in a comparable position last year. I think in the end, just a point above you guys. And then you went out and you saw the problems with inside your squad and you fixed them by signing players. And Spurs just thought, nah, can't. I reckon Daniel Levy woke up one day and just can't fucking be bothered. Yeah, can't be bothered with it. So I mean, look,
I've got a radical idea. Yeah. Everyone's running around buying players. Has anyone just tried? Not
buying players, exactly.
And the answer is yes. It was Arsene Wenger like 3 years ago when he bought Petr Cech.
Yeah. So look, it's when we went into the season, it was a little bit worrying, but we won our first 3 games, and we were poor against Watford during the last Premier League game day, but by and large we've been okay. And you look at the side, and you think it's good enough to finish in the top 4 again, even without any new players coming in. But as fans, you don't want that. You want to progress. You want to be seen to be progressing. You want to. We're not. I'm none of Spurs fans or any fans of any club are happy to just remain where you are.
I think the problem is that we never know. It's impossible to know how our seasons are going to progress. So you have to fall back on archetypes. You have to fall back on what is a received wisdom of how football works. Yeah. And that logic is that realistically, if you want to get better and you want to take strides up the league, then you've got to invest and you've got to do this and this. But the point is that Spurs, year on year, have been getting better. Not necessarily in league position and finish, but in terms of what you've been able to handle as the season's progressed. You got out of a very, very tough group in the Champions League last year. Yeah. Obviously, great results against Real Madrid and Dortmund along the way, and managed to re-secure top 4. Is it tough? I guess if any pressure comes, it comes from banter pressure and probably from Arsenal fans because let's face it, we've spent 10 years laughing at Arsenal for not harboring ambitions beyond 4th place in the league.
But we come from a different position in that they went invincible and went the entire season unbeaten. They were winning trophies, so they were at high. Spurs are still. We haven't achieved anything. We haven't done anything yet. We've gone from being turgid, mediocre, that people run over. Any club in the top 6 walks over, to being a very good side now, and that's been satisfying to experience. So it's a case of now we're thinking, well, we've got to kick on, and there's so much going on around Spurs at the moment with the stadium and the lack of investment. And
what's happening with the stadium stuff? Because at the minute, I hear loads again. You hear loads of conflicting things. Yeah. We know that it's been pushed back for a few months.
Well, originally it was supposed to be the Liverpool game. This is supposed to be the opening game, which I'm kind of glad of because I mean I'd like a Brighton at home. Or someone like that as the first one. You don't want Liverpool.
I'm not sure about Brighton this season, but I know West Ham at home is what you want.
Yeah, West Ham at home, that would have been perfect. But it is what it is. We need to get back in that stadium. As it stands, as I understand it, like you say, no one really knows. There's problems with the circuits. We can't get a safety certificate in order to open a stadium. And there's been enough problems and disasters and things that have happened. Liverpool affected worse than almost all other clubs. We've got to get it right, and it's got to be safe. Yeah. So that's why I think there's an element of, for a lot of Spurs fans, pragmatism. Let's just make sure it's right, make sure there's going to be no issues, and make sure everyone's going to get home safe.
What does it mean though? Because I don't know how true this is. I heard talk that it's not as simple as just playing the rest of the fixtures at Wembley this season, or is it?
No, it's not. There's conflict. There's already fixtures been booked into Wembley. We can't play the the League Cup game against Watford at Wembley because there's an NFL match being played there. So we have to...
Some mad irony in that, isn't there?
Well,
Given you're about to become the NFL
for that
stadium.
very reason. It's the fact that they're not playing at White Hart Lane. They have to play at Wembley. So we've got to now find another... It is an absolute clusterfuck. So it's just one of them things. I don't know when it's going to end. It will end eventually and we'll be in our stadium. But the worst rumour I've heard is that we won't get in this year at all.
Mad, absolute madness.
But the form at Wembley last year wasn't too bad.
Well, this is the thing. When we chatted in pre-season last year, and I felt that Wembley was going to be the millstone round Spurs' neck, and you start.
Did okay.
You know, exactly. I think you warmed into it far quicker, and maybe because it's a football stadium as opposed to that awful environment that West Ham have to go into at the moment.
There's that. But you look at it. Spurs' away form has been good under Pochettino. They've been consistently good away from home, and our away form is comparable to our home last season. So the fact that it was away ground for everybody, and as the season progressed, it became a more of an advantage because you understand the way the pitch runs and all the rest of it. Mm-hmm. So we kind of we adapted, and ultimately Pochettino's too good a manager to let the size of a pitch or stadium affect the way his teams go out.
What are you feeling about this game then? Because look, I think I can look back at Liverpool's defeats last season, and I can look at the Man City defeat. We got battered at the Etihad in the league, but I can go and I can look at the Sadio Mane red card for the high boost and Edison and go, prior to that, if that doesn't happen, I can see Liverpool making a more game of that.
Absolutely.
Liverpool were totally and utterly pulled to pieces by Tottenham Hotspur
I think that
Wembley
was
last year.
That was the worst result probably of your season.
Yeah. Apart from the Champions League final, but that's fine.
But even that...
I didn't even have to say that. Could have just let it go. It's my channel. Could have just let it go. Didn't have to say it. Fine.
But even that was mitigating circumstances. You couldn't have done nothing about anything. Yeah. Bale doesn't score that Caesar kick again in his entire career, and Karius, he may make that mistake again, but certainly won't Liverpool.
Won't be doing it for us.
Yeah, exactly. So, so that was the kind of conclusive result. I think Pochettino has... and, like some managers have their... I wouldn't say he has Klopp's number. He doesn't, because there's been more draws and Liverpool beat us. Klopp has beaten Poch as well with Liverpool. But they're always close and tight games. I know. And that one last year, that one last year was a bit of an anomaly. I think it's a different game this year. Liverpool have improved significantly, and not just in buying players, but have grown into Klopp's system. This Liverpool side is better than it has been since the ill-fated championship run under Rodgers, I think.
How are your lads handling it at the moment? Because and how's Pochettino managed the squad? Because one thing Liverpool I looked at in pre-season was the impact that the World Cup had on pre-season, and the big issue we had was how many there was the England players making it to the final four of the World Cup. So Jordan Henderson coming back late and Trent Alexander-Arnold coming back late, and we had a couple more as well who were impacted. Spurs had was it 9 players involved in either the final or the third place playoff?
Yeah,
there or thereabouts.
That would be right. Yeah.
What's that? How is that? Have you changed your starting 11 as a result of that? Or has you literally just thrown them straight back in and gone on?
No, they've gone in. They've gone straight back in. No, we have to. You didn't buy any players, so we haven't got a choice. We haven't seen an impact just yet. Although Kane's style of play has changed somewhat. He's taking far less shots from outside. I don't know. He's had Lucas Moura up with him, so that's he isn't all of our attacking threat and finishing threat isn't solely reliant on Kane. And we saw in the great result against Man United at Old Trafford that Lucas Moura's
that was a great result.
Yeah, amazing. Lucas Moura's doing his bit, but I'd like to see a return to where Kane is playing up front on his own. I don't think he's up and running yet. Kane scored 2 goals already, but he's not quite there. And I think it's going to, when he does come back to full fitness and he is firing, that it will be him playing up on his own and more dropped in wide probably. But what we do have, and what people haven't mentioned, is we've got essentially 3 players that didn't play pretty much at all last season. You've got Alderweireld, who's come back into the side. You've got Harry Winks. And Lucas Moura, I completely forgot his name then for a second. Lucas Moura. So these are, I know it's like a cliche, they're like free signings. It's not like signing free new players.
Lucas Moura, it very much is. Well, you're getting the best defence back, and arguably your best defender in Alderweireld, although Vertonghen. take a pick. Winks, I'm not going to can't comment on Winks. We've spoken about him in the past. I know you think highly of him, but the more I think is that I think Carragher said it on Monday Night Football. You know, he's had that, having had that bedding in period. You're not just getting him as a new signing. You're getting him as a proper member of the squad. I had no idea what type of player he was. I was astounded how good he was against Man United because I just didn't know he could play like that.
No, I mean we saw glimpses of it last year. You know, in I think it was we played Rotherham in the League Cup, and it's lower league opposition, but he just arrived and was incredible. You know, he played a couple of league games and he looked alright and exciting. Pochettino said that he wouldn't be ready. As soon as we signed him, he said he won't be ready this season. He's played 4 subs appearances for PSG in a year. Not going to be ready. So him coming back, like I say, Winks, I know we have talked about him in the past. If he can stay fit, he's got bags and bags of talent. Really can't speak highly enough of him. It's just his injuries are horrendous, so we'll see. So his game is based on twisting and pace and moving the ball quickly, and it has high demands on the joints and muscles. So hopefully he gets on all right. But yeah, going into the weekend, I'm not sure he'll be quite ready to start that game.
Are you taking are you going to read anything into this game in terms of the results?
I think the bigger. Don't know. It's
tough at this early stage.
It is, because I take a draw against Liverpool and 3 wins and a loss is not a bad return from 5 games.
Yeah.
So in that instance, if we take get a draw out of it, then you think, all right, well, that's not a bad start. I think the big thing is that you've got Liverpool, Spurs, comparable positions, and Liverpool went out and spent and are now undoubtedly title challengers.
Yeah,
they're the guys. You lot are the ones that are going to stop Man City, if anybody. So
that's the thing.
And the Spurs haven't done it. So if you beat us, it's a barometer of the things that we're doing wrong off the pitch.
That's, I think, the big issue. Man City raised the bar so high last season that every one of these head-to-heads become even more important than ever before, particularly because Man City are just not going to drop many points. You know, it was mind-blowing when they dropped a couple the other week, and you're like, wow, okay, wow,
quick,
we're ahead of Man City. Let's win the games, get 3 points, and everything will be fine forever. And that's the thing with that, is that, you know, a win for a defeat for Spurs, and it's hard. I think there's a morale-wise, you just, every time Man City pick up points and you don't, it's just, I think you've got a lot. I think there's us, there's yous, and there's Man United, I think, in particular. And look, I'm not going to get into the Chelsea stuff because who knows, but that we're clenching every single week, because you know, if you lose any ground on Man City, there's going to be a temptation to write the title off before you even get to
this is the difference between Tottenham and Liverpool fans, is that I don't think there's many Spurs fans that think that we're going to challenge, whereas all Liverpool fans think they're going to challenge. And sometimes that's what you need. You need the belief in your team. But I think you have the belief because you bought Naby Keita, you bought Alisson, you bought Van Dijk previously, who solved problems. Yeah. You got Fabinho, who hasn't even really featured, has he?
At all.
No, he hasn't played at all. So I can see where your optimism comes from. I mean, you beat Man City last year over 2 legs. So I can understand it from Spurs' perspective, which is like, let's hope we can replicate what we did last year, because we signed no one. Now, I might be completely wrong, because, you know, what do I know? But
what does any of us know?
I know. But
don't break the conceit.
But I think all Spurs fans now would take top 4 right now. Okay. That would be fine. And I think we will finish in the top 4 for what it's worth.
Wicked. Well, listen, all the best in terms of your personal health, but less so in terms of your footballing life. Go and listen. If you want to get more from the Tottenham Hotspurs scene, then obviously the Fighting Cock podcast is amazing. Yeah. Flav has done a preview with Chris over on the Ball Street channel as well, so go over and check that out. Subscribe to the Ball Street channel. Subscribe to this channel. We're so close to 300,000 subscribers. You can make that happen. Other than that, ta-da.